to another episode of SaaS Scaled. I'm here with Indus Khaitan, and we had a very nice discussion just before we start the recording, and I'm pretty sure that this would be a great discussion for everyone as well. Um, so, Indus, please tell us about yourself a little bit. What's the story? I know that you have a fascinating background.
Great chatting with you. Thanks for having me. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I grew up in a mining town in India and got a college degree and came to Silicon Valley chasing the proverbial great American dream. I started a couple of companies, sold one to Oracle, raised a small family. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area in the East Bay. People know the geography. And now I am the founder of a company called Quolum, where we help other companies save money on buying and renewing SaaS products. We help reduce SaaS waste, remove financial and operational drudgery, and optimize the stack of software products that any company has.
Fantastic. So, where that idea, I wonder, how did you come up with that idea? How there was a day that you got up and said, today I'm going to start this company. And in order to get there, you have gone through a number of thoughts, processes, thinkings, backgrounds, maybe seeing the problem. In particular, is there anything that initiated that move?
I think there were layers of thought process. The final nail in the coffin for, hey, let's do something on this was I was working for a company called Qrvey, before I started this, and we grew very rapidly in a short amount of time. And during that time, I saw the explosion and adoption of SaaS within the group that I was part of and at large within the company. And when I was talking to folks, the feedback I got, hey, there is no easy way to manage how many products we have. It was all millions of dollars being invested, products being bought. Nobody knew who's using it. Nobody knew who paid for it. It was my credit card on file on many of these applications. And the thought was there must be an easy way to solve it rather than spreadsheets and emails. And that was the final nail in the coffin to do something about it. But the seeds were sown many, many years ago. I'm an enterprise product guy, built products for the back office and saw up close how processes and systems in larger companies, make the life easier for the buyer of these tools and of course for the sellers. But in contrast, for SaaS, there was nothing close that could, have a workflow around it. So quit Chargebee in summer of 2019 and thought, hey, let's solve the problem without exactly knowing what the solution should be.
Mhm. So, there are different school of thoughts. We both live in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley, of course. One idea here that is popular is that you go and sketch something on a whiteboard, or you put together some slides, and then you go and just meet with some investors and different type of investors in all shapes and forms, and then you get some seed funding, you go forward, you get more funding, and then you essentially bring that power with regard to the funding to make things happen in a big way, quick, rapid, bigger than anybody else in the market, and you outcompete the competition because you're faster, you're better, stronger, more money, and everything, and then you win the market. That's one way to go. And then there is a big risk there, but it's high speed race. There's another school of thought that is, hey, I'm going to just understand exactly what the problem is, and it takes time, and I need to spend the time, many, many years. Maybe the investors are not patient enough to be with me. I need to do it in a way that is not pressure on me to go fast. It's not a speed at that point kind of, race. I wanted to really go and spend time, understand the problem, understand the solution, test it out, make sure it's working, and then I'm ready in order to go faster. And during that time, I need to just focus and do it in a totally different mode and different style. Some people would say at any point, anyway, I don't want to raise money. I just wanted to build a business as an entrepreneur, make it sustainable, make it profitable, make it in a way that it works for customers. And then I'm not in rush. If it takes 10, 15, 20 years, I will take the time. I just enjoy doing it in a very organic growth rather than, just being pushed on a timetable with some investors who might be in rush or maybe have some other agenda, or I don't know. But that's the way I want to build it. Very sustainable, very organic. I wouldn't use the lifestyle business because that comes with a negative connotation, but it's really that style. What is your take after all of these experiences that you have had, and what's the style that you will adopt to move forward?
I think a great question and a great observation on the market. So I think if you parse down like as a branching tree at the top, as an entrepreneur, you're starting a business. So at the top level, you have to see, hey, am I going to bootstrap it, or this is a venture ready business? Bootstrap, run it as a lifestyle, or maybe get funding 3, 4 year, 5 years down the road. I think that decision point, not easy, but could be made depending on who you are as a person. So if you have money stocked away, you can bootstrap, right? And that's the path you take. In venture ready or a venture scale business, I think you as a founder, or I as a founder, I look for what is the product that I'm building. Am I going into commoditized markets? A great example is a CRM, an email outreach tool, a marketing automation, or a social media monitoring product, a customer service management infrastructure. If I'm building in a commoditized market, many times what happens, we think, hey, we need a lot of money. We're going to get bigger faster because there are other hundreds of players in the commoditized market. And that becomes a thesis that becomes short-lived in many cases because customers already know the solution. You throw money at the problem to acquire them, and it kind of rapid burning, may not get into a product market fit. And when I say product market fit, that the category, let's say, CRM, but you still have to have a niche why customer is going to buy your product rather than a competition. Or maybe you have it cheaper, maybe you have a unique angle. So that is one. If you're building in a commoditized market, you need to have that much capital, but still, the trajectory is in question. The second one is, are you creating a new category of products? The problem that I see in venture capital business, both of these get conflated. Investors, depending on their agenda, they will force you to go to market, raise money faster, do one round after the other without proving your thesis, irrespective of whether it's commoditized markets or newer categories. 100% in newer categories, you cannot put money at the problem. You have to iterate, you have to experiment, you have to talk to customers, you have to build it out, have a product market fit. Then only you can say, oh, I am ready to scale. I have 250,000 to 500,000 in revenue, and let's go put some more money to the jet fuel, or more money as a jet fuel. And this is where most of the time we see in the valley that companies have not been built sustainably. And this is what's happening today. Companies raised a lot of money in the last 2 years. They're going to do a down round. They're going to do layoffs. And it hurts. It hurts the employees. It hurts the cap table. It hurts the customers. Not a sustainable way to build a business.
So, so you're right. I mean, there are many different dimensions, of course, right? So, as you said, there are many questions to ask before even understand if there are these options available to you or not, because sometimes there is no option, sometimes there are multiple options, sometimes it's so obvious that this is the best option, sometimes it's not that obvious. All of the options look great, and then you would never know which would have worked best. You just pick one and go with it. But if I come to you today and say, hey, I wanted to start this business that this is a SaaS business, meaning that I need to add more subscription to it. It's not going to be huge chunk of money coming to me. It's going to be probably, subscriptions add up, but takes time to get to the point that I have enough revenue Um, and then I don't really want to necessarily be in a situation that to really get into that race too fast because I know I need time. And at the beginning of any SaaS company, things are very slow, as you know, as I know. You know, the slowest time is the first few years. After that, everything is getting easier, better every year. But the difficulty, the most difficult part is just to get the first maybe $1 million of ARR. And at the beginning, when you are very, very small and move forward, what is the option at that point if entrepreneur understands all of these challenges, knows that it's not the best option to really go and bring an investor because then everything else would be really, pushed and getting into a timetable that may not work well. But what is the option? That's, I think, the dilemma for most of the founders, that when they start, they don't see any other option, even if they know it's not the best option. So they have to go and just talk to VCs. And it's not good, not just for investors, for entrepreneurs. It's not even the best time for institutional investors, right? Because they have to wait also. It takes longer as well. So what is the remedy that you see for those founders if they come to you and say, okay, Indus, just give us some advice?
I think the first question I always ask is, what are you building? I think, hinging to my earlier thought, are you building something which is new? Of course, as you said, you have to nurture that experiment for at least a couple of years. You don't know whether there are buyers of the product. You don't know, even if there are buyers, are they ready to pay for it? And if they pay for it, is it enough to become a gross margin of SaaS kind of a business in a longer term? And the mistake most of the time founders make is exactly opposite. They think their business is venture ready. They have product market fit in month 3 or month 4. They got 10 customers who are their friends or extended family. It's a wrong product market fit. And that's the mistake companies make. They raise money too quickly from investors who are Series A, as we would call it, or institutional investors. Institutional investors are going to put the founder on a timeline saying, oh, you took $15 million from this particular VC. Now show me the revenue growth, show me traction. But behind the scenes, if the business is not ready to show traction, you had not had product market fit, what you are going to do, you're going to acquire false product market fit, which is, let's acquire customers on performance marketing, put it on LinkedIn, put it on Google ads. You'll get some customers, you'll get some traction, but again, maybe the wrong set. They will churn after 6 months. Even more problem at stake. So the advice I would give founders, figure out what you're building. Is it a better banana or a better apple, or a banana to an apple, as it you have a differentiated product? Second, don't talk to just the 10 customers who are in your network. Do a LinkedIn cold outreach to people who are in your second degree. LinkedIn is a fantastic tool, who are not connected to you, who will give you the middle finger because they don't know you. That is the feedback you're looking for. To give you our example as Quolum, we started, late 2019. We thought we will build a SaaS management tool, but 6 months in the experimentation cycle, we figured out, yes, there were buyers of the product, but they would not log into our application more than once every quarter. And
Hmm.
that gave us a hard burn because, yes, there is utility, but there is no usage. And we went back to the drawing board thinking, hey, what can we build that brings the user to the product every day? We added a fintech arm to the product. We went back to the drawing board, rebuild it, or added that in 12 to 18 months and launched the product again in late summer of last year. And that's when we got traction. And during that 2 years, we operated the company very, very conservatively, not trying to burn cash on anything which is not related to product. And now we have a PMF. We just got 2 sales guys on board. We have a growth marketer on board, and we're ready to scale. That's a journey I would recommend following.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Um, Now, with regard to any SaaS company, when they are starting this business, and of course, the best way is to start with maybe some customers. One of the approaches that I'm a big fan of is starting to sell the vision, not to investors necessarily, but to some customers. And if someone is really paying for that and signing up, meaning that I will pay for that service. I know it's not available yet, but based on your proof of concept, prototype, slides, I'm going to pay for this a little bit and pre-subscribe. So when it's coming, I'm getting a very highly discounted kind of service for the first year, maybe. And that approach, it just confirms the vision is correct, because somebody even small, maybe paying a $1,000 check, but that payment is just a vote of confidence, even if it's a small. And then if you can explain that and somebody understands and write that $1,000 check and said, this is yours 6 months from now, 1 year from now, when your service is ready, I will get a 1 year subscription for that that is highly discounted, then there's less risk there, right? So you have signed up 5 people, 10 people, and then you know this is a need, because otherwise those people would not have written that check. Sometimes there's a false positive that, you know, it's a kind of, you go there and say it's a good idea. They say, yes, it's a great idea. But then you build it, there's nobody wanted to pay for it, right? So it's more like it's a good idea, but it doesn't mean it's practical, doesn't mean it's, someone I would pay for, doesn't mean I'm a real customer for it. So that approach can make it more probably, to the point that you say, that really building something that people are willing to see. And it's not difficult to build that proof of concept and something that you can put together quickly, rather than going through that. um, would you agree? I mean, this is the approach that you think it would work with many cases, or there are some flaws to this idea?
I think agree in the large part. I think the crux is, as you mentioned, Aman, is who are these first 10 customers?
Mhm.
If these first 10 customers are your friends, or let's say recommendations by your seed investors, you know, people are nice. They don't want you to fail. They will not say no to you if they know you already. And if these are the first 10 customers, it is very likely, and to your point, Arman, it could misguide you. It could give you a false product market fit. The nuance there is, get the first 10 customers who are not your friends, who are not your acquaintances, who are in some second degree. And the first 10 customers came via hundreds of outreach messages you sent, not like an easy, 10 that came on your bucket. Maybe a few are your friends, out of 10, maybe one or two to help you, build the product. But you want the majority, like 60 to 70%, who are not known to you, who are there because of what you are building rather than who you are as an individual. So 100% agree with you here. Just a small nuance in terms of who the first 10 are.
Mhm. Yeah, make perfect sense. Sometimes I think that the SaaS market is influenced too much by investors. And
It
what I
is.
mean by that, it is okay. Any comment on that?
It is because in the last 5 years, what has happened is people have woken up or been aware of the fact that how fast SaaS compounds. You take $1 today, $2 tomorrow, $4 and $8. It just, rapidly, a 1 million revenue could go to 70 million, 60 to 70 million just by the laws of compounding, right? And hence SaaS has become a pretty much a favorite destination for deploying capital, not just in private markets. If you look at public markets, likes of Snowflake, Okta, Datadog, Zoom, the reason these companies have hundreds of billions of dollars in valuation, because public market investors have also woken up that, hey, I don't need a dividend paying 15% every month company. I need a compounding dividend paying 15 to 20 to 30 to 40. And that's the beauty of SaaS. And agree to your point, and that is influencing the behavior that you just mentioned about.
Yeah, because sometimes, for example, you see that we make a big deal of these companies named unicorn. And if you look at what unicorn is, it's not really that unicorn, right? Because you can be a very good presenter and you can get in front of a very good investor with deep pocket. And then you can ask for some money, even if you have no revenue. And then as soon as they put 100 million based on $1 billion valuation, hey, next day you are a unicorn. As easy as that. Now, the difficult part is to deliver that. The difficult part is to bring customers, sign up customers. They pay, they don't churn, they love it, they like it. You make them successful, you bring value to customers. And then, in my opinion, that revenue that you bring from customers should make you a unicorn, right? So if you get to that revenue, right, $100 million revenue, then you have done something great. But if you get $100 million investment based on
Yeah.
some promises that you don't know if it will be doable or not, I don't think that it's kind of the so rather than we magnify and we really put that 100 million from customers, kind of that is what important. We magnify the just we
Yeah,
got
we
100
celebrate
million
funding
investment.
than anything else. Agree to you. Agree. I think um, we are celebrating the wrong metric.
Mhm.
We are celebrating unicorn valuations as if the company has already won the war and won the customers and distributed wealth to everybody who was involved, from team to investors, to early founders. Which, in my mind, if we look at when the term unicorn was coined, to your point, it made sense back then because the craziness was not there, and it was a matter of celebration that, look, in a nascent industry as tech, there are companies with billion-dollar valuations. It was a moment of celebration back then. But then what has happened is the tech neighborhood became dirty, that everybody wanted to crave a unicorn valuation. And all sorts of financial engineering is done, which we have not talked about, to achieve quote unquote a unicorn status. And to your point, if I'm a customer, what does a unicorn status give me? Nothing. It does not give me product. It does not give me better pricing. It just gives me media impressions that the tech publications are writing about. So more celebration of unicorn valuation than, hey, how much revenue did you make? How many customers do you have? Are your employees happy? We did not celebrate that.
Yeah, very good points. Very good points. Um, so, so within that kind of journey, right? So you go through and, as you said, the right celebration. So if you receive funding, necessarily it's not good news or bad news, in my view, for founders. It can be bad news. It can be good news
It's a
because
milestone.
yeah, because it's the milestone, but you still don't know if you should, celebrate it or not until you actually deploy that investment, and then you see that you can actually create $2 value out of $1, and then that customer come back and say, "I'm happier." Now you are building a better product. Now the team is more successful. Now you have a great team, great product, great customer base, and at that point, then you can celebrate and say, I deployed and I used this investment in the right way. But what if that investment actually led you to spend more for no good reason? What if it led you to take some options that would not have been good options and you would not have taken probably if you didn't have money and you built the wrong product just because you had the money and those kind of things, and after 4 years 5 years you come back and say actually it didn't do well for me, that investment, and actually my valuation is now down rather than moving up, and I'm not providing more value, I'm providing less value to my customer base. So definitely raising investment doesn't need that celebration from founders perspective, but adding customers would really would be a great uh, reason and excuse to have a celebration. I mean, if you are adding happy customers and successful customers, that is something to celebrate. Um, so, but yeah, but is it the same perspective you would share?
I, I think same perspective. I'll give you one anecdote. So as a kid growing up in India, I remember a neighborhood bridge over a small river was being built and supposed to be built. And how I found out all these details is one fine day we found out, hey, the bridge is not going to get built. As in, why? Because the person who took the debt from a bank, a local bank, to build the bridge ran out of money,
Hmm.
and the bridge is not going to get built. He was awarded a tender, and that's what's called in India when somebody wins a contract, a tender, it's awarded to that person, and the company could not build the bridge. There was no celebration before that, that hey, he was awarded a tender, or he got a line of debt or credit from the bank to build the bridge. Nothing like that. The only celebration that was supposed to happen when the bridge was opened, being opened for public, did happen, right? So as a customer, the bridge did not get delivered to me, and hence I found out. So if you equate that to venture capital is nothing but, it's technically not a debt as a financial instrument, but we equate that I am borrowing money from someone to build a business, and my job as an entrepreneur is to deliver that business to my customers and hopefully in the process return that debt in multiples back to the investors and participate in that win. What is happening is we are celebrating that, that I received that debt to build the business, and in my mind that's wrong. Yes, it's a milestone. You need that money to build a business because, of course, tech, you invest $3 ahead of time to get a dollar, and then of course that diminishes over a period of time. You become self-sustaining and profitable.
Yeah, that was a good kind of a story and metaphor, actually. Having the bridge requires it needs that celebration, but not announcing that we got the money to start building the bridge. That still don't know if that would be a liability or that would be really a positive development. So interesting. Um, is there any particular um, maybe habit, maybe a particular event or something that you have seen, you have experienced, and you would say, you know what, that helped my business, that helped me to be a better kind of, because this particular event or because of these particular habits or this particular gathering or a group that I'm involved in that really helped me to grow my business or at least better understand how to do business or be a better kind of founder entrepreneur or make a better SaaS company that has helped me to get that you can share with the audience as simple as possible. It might be a particular habit that you had, or it can be group or event. Is there anything?
I think there's a pretty interesting event in my life, as a journey as a you know career professional in tech. In 2008, 2009, I went back to India, and of course, it was a series of fortunate events. Stock market, again, the housing bubble had burst, stock market had collapsed. I had started a business, ran out of money, and got a one-way ticket back to India. Now, in India, I got lucky with a couple of other co-founders. We started a seed fund. It was called the Morpheus, and it was very much like a Y Combinator clone
Hmm.
of its first kind in India. That fund, or creating that fund, gave me an opportunity to see venture capital from the other side. As a founder, you always have a jaded perspective that, hey, investors not giving me money. Venture capital is for the privileged. If you are from, Dropbox, Stripe today, or Google, or Facebook, or Stanford, or Harvard, you can get capital. Other founders don't get easy access to capital. When I went on the other side, which probably is also called the dark side of the entrepreneurship, it gave me a ringside view of what exactly happens behind the scenes. How these funds are run. Who the investor chooses or picks to invest money on a startup. What are they looking for in the entrepreneur? What are they looking for in an idea? That 2 years was like somebody putting my feet on fire as an entrepreneur, saying, "Oh, you got to learn this, you know, you rookie." And that was basically transforming for me as an individual and made me a better entrepreneur that I am today and a better judge of people. And my ability to judge and gauge the intent of individuals went up probably 100x in just 2 years time frame.
Hmm. Wow, amazing.
And luckily the fund did well. A couple of unicorns came out of it. It went from a small $250,000 fund to $3 million fund. And of course, overall a good quality startups came out. It also made me known in the Indian startup ecosystem. When I moved back to India, I did not know anyone, and I built a network. Got publicity for the fund, and of course, left 2 years after that. I was not ready to become a VC. I'm still an operator and a builder, so came out and did another startup. But those 2 years were very defining for my life.
And why is that? Why you know that it's easier and faster and quicker and financially more rewarding if you let your money work for you rather than you start taking all of these risks and up and downs as a founder, and it takes longer time to really build something, but still you chose, and I did the same. I chose to build something. What does it why is that? Why you are really just get up in the morning and you say I want to build something? And I'm not saying one is the better than the other. It's just two different things and both of them are valuable, and I understand that, but I wonder why is that? Why you know strive for that kind of going and building something, and that's what you wanted to, that's what energizes you.
I think it's how I am built, and I can think about others as well who are entrepreneurs. It's something within you as an individual. If I could give an analogy, it is like a few men or a group of people would want to go on war. If you take back thousands of years ago, in 1000 AD, or 10 centuries ago, a group of people would want to go on war, say, "Yep, I am ready. I'm going to go fight the enemy, most likely win the battle and come back." Whereas a group of people say, "No, I am good at farming. I'm good at preserving my family. I'm good at supporting the men and the women who are serving the country and are at war." So as an individual, we are wired to behave in a certain way. Are you the person who can go to war and live with the uncertainty and maybe die and never come back home? Or are you the one who will preserve the history and nurture the men who have gone to war? I think I am of the war kind, and many of those entrepreneurs are war kind. They like the fact that there is uncertainty every day. They like the fact that, hey, there is pride and joy and a larger celebration of protecting and winning and coming back home, or the thrill or the rush around it. And, you know, at the same time, taking risks. Of course, people who are uh, preserving, they are also taking risks, they are experimenting. But I'm just giving a broader thesis of experimentation and broader risk taking, knowing that we are putting our families at jeopardy. If I not become successful, I'm going to lose my time, lose the opportunity, put my family at jeopardy, may not be able to have money to send my kids to college, and many other things that could go wrong. So we are ready to take that risk. I think that's what wired in us.
Yeah, interesting. So I would like to ask you as my last question, if you have any blog posts that you follow and you read regularly and it has been impactful positively on what you do, or any book, or something that again you would like to share with the audience.
I read a lot. I follow a lot of blog posts. I listen to many podcasts. I'm a general reader of the history, either the history of business, history of technology or human innovation, um, whether it's the history of, let's say, building Brooklyn Bridge, or the Wright brothers inventing airplanes, or Steve Jobs or Steve Wozniak creating Apple. I think that's my genre, biographies of people who have, struggled and created something which now as a society we can cherish. Right now, I'm rereading Andy Grove's Only the Paranoid Survive. It's actually a book right on my desk. I just started like a week ago. I've read this at least two or three times, rereading this Only the Paranoid Survive. And he classically chronicles the time and tribulations of Intel, from going from memory chip maker to the CPU driven, compute driven infrastructure that Intel created. Just amazing. I follow a lot of blogs. I also follow a lot of podcasts. I'm an aviator, so I like to fly a single engine Cessna, so follow some of the aviation blogs and podcasts. Um, a podcast which is getting very popular and very favorite a lot of people is Invest Like the Best by Patrick O'Shaughnessy, if I pronounced his last name right. He's brought in a phenomenal set of guests on the podcast, and absolutely love to hear it when new episodes come out.
Fantastic, thanks for sharing. It was a great discussion. Thanks again for joining us, and I look forward to speaking with you again, and keep in touch.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having me. Have a great weekend.